You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in Northport, Florida. And I really do have a very special guest in the house today, and I hope that you'll all join and chime in. We're going to talk a little bit about safety and safety out in our environment. And I'm going to let Laura take the lead here real quick, introduce herself, and give an overview of what we're going to be discussing today. Hi, Laura.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for so much for having me on. I really enjoy talking about personal safety. When I talk about this, people tend to get nervous and they think crazy things, but basically my purpose is to prepare people and not make people paranoid. We want you to go out and about and enjoy yourself, but we want you to be prepared. So Damsel in Defense is a company that I am an independent Damsel Pro with, and our mission is to equip, empower, and educate people, primarily women and their families, on staying safe from being a victim of crime. And we also play a very important role to fight human trafficking, and I'll talk a little bit about that later as well.
Well, and this is a branch off of a little bit of what I do with CARE when we talk about human trafficking and rape and prevention, different things like that, because a lot of these tactics and things that you're going to talk about today are really preventative, and really kind of like a stopping mechanism for bad things to happen. Correct.
Correct. Yes.
So I want to stick on to the human trafficking side of it just for a minute, because I know you're ready and willing to dive into that too. But can you talk about the reason, because we are ranked so high in the US, what really can we do to be more defensive in the scenario that we have down here, because Florida is so well known for grab and go?
Right. We're third. We are
Yes,
third.
we are. And so, with what you do and what you're trying to teach and what you're instilling into the community overall, because you guys are really like community driven, correct?
Correct.
So what are some of the things that you would like to add in about preventative of the human trafficking side?
So for everybody, the number one line of defense is situational awareness. We have to pay attention to our surroundings. There is a color chart that a colonel in the U.S. Marine Corps developed, the Cooper's color chart. And when I talk to different groups, by the way, it is community driven. I do go into the businesses, into women's groups, networking groups, churches, high school kids, little kids, all ages. And I talk about situational awareness and paying attention. And the 5 levels of awareness, I don't think we'll have time to get into the whole synopsis of what I do, but it is very, very important whether you are coming out of your home, whether you're coming out of Walmart or Publix, that you basically take that 5 seconds and you look around your surroundings. When you are coming out of Publix, you really want to take that few minutes and you want to close your purse, put your money away, be prepared, have something, have some type of safety product either in your hand or accessible, so that in the event you need it, you have it. Walking outside, standing upright. It's a proven fact that if you have something for protection, that empowers you and your posture automatically stands up. And so you have something of personal defense in your hand or close to you, and you're walking, just looking around. You're not being paranoid, but your head's on a swivel and you're looking around to protect yourself so that when you get to your car, you are going home to your loved ones. I mean, that's what's really important. The sex trafficking, yes, we have a huge problem with this. If there wasn't a demand, there wouldn't be supply. So that's the supply and demand. It's huge.
Yep.
So it's a real problem. And whether you are a young girl or boy, we can't forget boys. I went to a presentation last year, and this man who's in charge of a boys program for boys that have been sexually assaulted said, please, when you talk to people, don't dismiss boys and men. The 1 in 5 women are survivors of rape.
That's a fact.
That is a fact. Now, statistics are skewed, obviously, because not all rapes are reported. Okay, that's just the way it is. Some women don't report, some men don't report, but a violent crime occurs every 26 seconds. And that's horrible. The FBI estimates that sex offenders are every square mile. So these statistics are out there, and I'm not going to sit and go on and on with statistics, but it ties in with that we do have a problem, whether you live in a gated community, whether you don't. I hear all kinds of excuses, but we all need to pay attention no matter where we live and or work.
Well, I want to hit this from another angle here too, because we are a concealed carry state, which I'm so proud that we are. So the flip side of that, though, is there are people that are not comfortable carrying.
Yes.
And so you have to have some sort of way to protect yourself if you're thrown into a scenario. And I think that the biggest key is you have to imagine yourself being in that situation. Just because you may be 25 or 40 or 50, 70 years old and you've never hit it before, you're likely to have something happen to you because the odds say it's going to. Now, if you're being perceptive and you're looking around and you're paying attention to everything that's happening 24/7, your odds decrease dramatically. But your odds also of survival increase if you have certain things on your body to prevent somebody taking you, somebody doing harm to you. At least that split second that you need to either yell or scream or run and get some attention drawn to you. That's kind of what you're about, right? Because you're not talking about concealed carry, but you are talking about concealed carry of some tactics and some things that are a little different, but a little safer.
Right. First of all, people have the right to bear arms. Okay.
Correct.
That I come across a lot of people who carry firearms, but you cannot walk around with your gun in your hand, walking into Publix or walking to your car. You'll freak people out. You have even people that have concealed carry permits and carry. Most of the people, if not, there's 1 or 2 out of many people that I've spoken to that do carry some other type of personal defense. Because let's face it, when you carry a gun and you use that gun, there are responsibilities that go along with that and ramifications. If you can avoid having to use that gun, if somebody was approaching you, or if you came out of a store and you felt uncomfortable, you don't know, again, I go through what your intuition is and lots of different scenarios. But if you're coming out and you sense that something is not right, you can use a stun device, which has a flashlight and it makes a loud sound. That can be a deterrent. Okay, so if a person is going to come to you or approach you and you sound off a stun device, chances are that person is not going to continue to come to you because you have protection. So, like I said, you can't have a gun open. You have to layer protection. Even if you don't have a firearm, we talk about layering, whether you have a pepper spray and or a stun, because a pepper spray you can use for distance because ours shoot 16 feet away. And then if some, we always say pepper spray for distance, stun for close up, but the stun can also be used for distance if you don't have a pepper spray because you're sounding off that sound. And so layering protection is the key, because if they do take something from you, you have something else. So absolutely, we also sell concealed carry purses. We don't sell concealed carry products like firearms, but these are non-lethal products that we do sell so that you can have protection when you're going out and about.
And I for the listening audience, you're not just sitting at home and doing these types of educationals. Aren't you going out and maybe introducing this into an environment like a work environment, so that the women, even men that aren't aware of the product line, uh, feel more comfortable and engaged about what you are doing, and really the safety aspect of just walking the streets at night?
Right. For me and for all the Damsel independent pros, getting the products in your hands is equipping you. The other piece of the triangle is educating and empowering you. So I do go to different community groups and women's groups and realtors and mortgage companies, dentist office, doctor's office, restaurants. We it depends on the company. We'll call them empower hours. We call them lunch and learns. But the important thing is you're getting the education, and then I'm planting the seed for you. I mean, there's clearly people, and you showed a few slides before. You showed the color chart.
Yes.
And I go in depth with the color chart, and I talk about the different types of levels of awareness. And I ask people, you don't have to raise your hand, but where do you feel you fall under in your situational awareness? And then when I'm done, I ask again, and most people really have learned from the education. And yes, so I'm really going to just hone in on the white really quick. The white level of awareness, that is a person that's unprepared. That is a person that is unready to take action. So a sample of that type of person would be a person that's oblivious to what's going on. You're walking out and you're texting. Okay, we call focus locked. And when I ask the audience, give me an example of what focus locked means. Sometimes people have to think for a minute, and then I say, okay, it's something that we have that we use every day. And then everybody says, aha, our cell phones. Many, many people, we are all walking out there in the parking lots, in the store, looking at our phones. People, you are going to be an easy target if you are walking around, whether you are walking for your exercise or whether you're walking in between appointments, going to your car. You are an easy target. Also, people who walk with earbuds. You're having conversations. You may think, excuse me, you may think that you are looking around, but you're really not. You are engaging in your conversation. And then the other person that is in that white level of awareness, which is an easy target, excuse me, is a person that is in denial. Like you said, John, earlier. Okay, here's a scenario, a 20-year-old that says, oh, Mom, don't worry. I'm going out, but don't worry, nothing's going to happen to me. Or a 40-year-old woman or man that says, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm 40 years old. Nothing's happened so far. So nothing's going to happen. And then I have an 80-year-old woman who read my sign at one of my presentations. The sign basically said 1 in 5 women are survivors of rape. And this woman says to me with a very straight face, I'm 85 years old. Nobody is going to want to rape me. And I basically just nicely said it would be really great if you could listen to the presentation. At the end of the presentation, she was like, wow, I really enjoyed that. And I never looked at it from that perspective. It is not, people rape, people rob, people steal, people do bad things for various reasons. And I won't get into all of that. There's drugs, there's, people could be high, there's mental illness, there could be, a boyfriend that comes into an establishment where he worked, an irate person that got fired, or a girlfriend's boyfriend. So there's lots of reasons that we all need to really pay attention.
And really, I'm glad you're hitting on all these, because, when you just talk general, all right, and you're just saying, hey, self-defense, people don't really trigger themselves into that atmosphere a lot of times. Just because you have pepper spray on you doesn't mean you're trying to create yourself to be a target or to relax because you have it. Part of the issue that a lot of people have is the fear of product. They do fear the product because they don't know how to use it.
Correct.
They don't know, does it really do what it's supposed to do? Is it going to save me? I don't want to say they truly discount it, but they kind of do, because they're not willing to maybe spend a little bit of money for the satisfaction of knowing if it does happen to me, I'm ready and willing to go. Are we talking astronomical number here?
Of people or price?
Price.
No, these are very affordable. Excuse me. These are very affordable prices. The pepper sprays range from $12 to $21. The stun device is $79.99, and it's lifetime warranty. Our pepper sprays, one of the pepper sprays, and also our stun devices have a safety wristlet so that if you put that on your wrist and your attacker grabs your stun, they cannot use it on you, because the pin that goes into the stun deactivates when it's apart from the pin. Okay. Which is a great safety feature, because you have it here, you have your pin on your wristlet, your wristlet on your wrist, and if they should grab it, like I said, they will grab it, they will take the pepper spray or the stun, but they will not be able to use it on you as long as you have the pin on you.
So it really disarms it, and they really don't realize what they've done.
Correct. And one of the excuse me, one of the things that is really important to remember is that these products are there to give you few seconds to get away. You are not there to fight, to stay in the fight. You are there to stun and run, to strike and run. You are there to get away. You have to, there's a term, and I may be getting too technical, but it's really important. There's a term called OODA loop, OODA. And a colonel in the Air Force developed this for training the fighter pilots, the U.S. Air Force fighter pilots. And what it means is observe, orient, decide, and act. It's a circle. And your brain has to, within a split half a second, you have to go through this cycle of OODA loop. Your brain has to observe, orient, decide, and act. And if you do that, just like the fighter pilots, they say that the fighter pilot that cycles through that OODA loop first wins. It's the same situation with this. So your attacker has only one plan. They have plan A. They don't have a plan B. You, on the other hand, have a plan A. You have personal protection, And by layering your protection, you have a plan B. So a person approaches you, you use some type of product, whether it's a striking tool, a stun device, or pepper spray, whatever. Your attacker is going to be, they're gonna halt. They're going to think for a second, like, oh no, like I'm out of my OODA loop cycle. Like I don't have, it's hard to explain, but I think you understand what I'm saying, that in the sense of your brain, when you do strike someone, they're not expecting that. So they have to take a few extra seconds to think about, holy crap, what do I do now? And that's hopefully going to give you those few seconds to get, if you're at your car, spray them, stun them, to get around to the other side of the car. If you're at a store, go back in the store. If you're walking, go to a neighbor, so it's stun and run, spray and get away. It is not to sit there or to stay there to fight the fight.
Well, and I've put your website up. So if you're listening on the radio and you have interest, damsel in distress or defense, defense, or damsel in distress is when you use this.
We're trying to prevent. We're preventative.
100%. And the whole thing is if you're interested in information on this, can you give them your website real quick?
Yes, my website is mydamselpro.net/safety-first123.
So if you're interested in this product, I've got a different point of view for you. I had lunch at Wendy's the other day, and my meal was $15. And I, slapped my forehead and said, what are you doing? You're eating fast food for $15 now, not $8. But the other side of that is you can actually put something on your person, as in pepper spray or product line, for that same cost. And at least you're doing something. If something were to happen, you have access to a product that may save your life. And let's just start at the bottom end. Let's say it's $30 or less than $30. They're great gifts to give. They're great ideas to get people engaged in conversation, engaged in really taking care of themselves. And with the streets like they are today, unfortunately, we have to talk about life as it is in all these cities. And Democrat, Republican, let's take it off the board. Let's just talk about crime wave. The crime wave is here. It's not going away. You do have to pay attention to your surroundings. I literally do it all the time. I'm constantly monitoring what's around me and who's around me. And now that I've been doing the radio show for 4 years with CARE, and talking about human trafficking and other organizations like yours, I find myself really, I think, more observant of my surroundings than ever before. But what I have noticed is and I call it the downlookers. They're everybody who's looking down at their phone. I hate to tell you, but the time that you're looking down at your phone is the seconds it takes to get you. And if you don't have something like this to grab, you're gone. And truthfully, you need to have something on your person if you're going to consistently look down and not pay attention. Wouldn't you rather feel safe about your surroundings knowing that you had that pepper spray or that stun gun or something on your person that you could make a difference in that moment? We could give stories, I'm sure, about people who have learned their lesson the hard way, may have been taken, may have been harmed, and now you do a presentation, and they're probably the first ones up going, "Oh my gosh, I wish I would have had this then."
Correct.
Can you talk about that side of it?
So I have done a lot of presentations to different audiences. Realtors are very vulnerable. They do safe showings, and I have a presentation. I have a specific presentation for realtors called Safe Showings. I've done mortgage companies where I invite realtors in, high school students, college kids. There's so much. The other thing too is we mentioned the pepper spray and the stun. We talk about layered protection, but that layered protection should also include something that makes noise, either a whistle or an alarm of some sort. We have a variety of different things. We have a variety of different age groups that we want to target. We have necklaces that are whistles. These are great for young girls, junior teens, seniors that don't want to hold that. Well, kids obviously can't bring the pepper sprays and the stuns to school, but we also have a tactical pen, which is a writing pen, and it's got a strobe light and a flashlight. But the feature on that is that it's got a little jagged edge at the top. And if you scrape the skin, you would collect DNA and give that to the police department. That is something that everybody can use. I bring that on TSA with me because it's a pen. You cannot bring these other products, the stun, the pepper spray, on the airplane. You could put them in your luggage, but the pen is great for all ages because I have parents that ask me, well, what can my teens carry? What can they? Well, definitely an alarm. We have an incredible product that we have a free app that people can download that connects in. You could it's a free app that you can download, and you can put up to 5 emergency contacts into that. And you can marry that up with either a pepper spray or an alarm. And once you activate the product, it tracks on a GPS cycle where you are, and your 5 emergency contacts notify you. It's fantastic for kids. It's fantastic for college kids. So, I mean, and it has the alarm has a silent alarm. So God forbid you were abducted, you could activate that GPS tracker. So it's just, there's a lot of different products that you can have for different ages. So you don't want to dismiss just because you don't want to have a pepper spray or an alarm.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are watching online, I've put the website up scrolling at the bottom along with Laura's name and her phone number. Is that correct on there?
The phone number is correct, but my Fogarty is ARTY.
ARTY. Oh my gosh, it auto corrected.
And the website doesn't have my name. The website's mydamselpro.net/safety first123.
Okay.
That's what that is.
I'll do it.
And while you are doing that, I just want to read something to you that's very powerful that I always start my presentations with because I want it to resonate with people.
Sure.
So in your life or well-being, if your life or well-being is being threatened, fight back. A study was released a few years ago that showed that women being attacked who used nonviolent methods of resistance, begged and pleaded, were raped 96% of the time. Women who yelled and screamed were raped 50% of the time. And women who ran or used physical resistance were raped 15% of the time. Women who used a weapon were raped only 1% of the time. Your goal is to get back to your family. your family wants you home. So if you're ever in a situation where you are uncomfortable, or you are approached, or you actually have to physically get into a situation, you must be protected. You have to have, and you have to feel comfortable with your product. If I buy you a pepper spray, if I'm your mother and I have a college student or whatever, or you're working at McDonald's or wherever you're working, and I get you a pepper spray and you're not comfortable with a pepper spray, what are you going to do with that pepper spray? You're going to put it in a drawer. You're not going to use it. So your mom has wasted her money, and your product that you have is being wasted in a drawer.
Sure.
So I really stress the importance of what are you going to feel comfortable with? And that's why when I do presentations, some companies want me to bring the things to sell, some don't. Some say, I want you to do the education, and then people can order if they want. But I have the products where they can hold them and feel them and ask questions about them.
You know, and I'm glad you gave some stats along with that, because people don't, when you throw out a number, I think they sometimes exclude themselves from that percentage. It's never going to happen to me. Well,
Right.
1 in 5, 1 in 10. I don't like those odds. 1 in 3,000. Okay, I'll take that. But if we're talking single digits or double digits, maybe even triple digits, because those odds are still not real high, because we got 82,000 people in Northport. So if your odds are 1 in 300, do the math. If there's 82,000 people, you got a pretty good chance.
And 1 in 3 women experience domestic violence. I mean, that's
right.
another whole piece of crime, but that's huge. 1 in 3 women.
So there's a tendency a lot of times to have, I think, this giant lump in your throat when you talk about subjects that are tough, with younger generation,
Yes.
the I know it all, younger generation that we're facing today. And I don't know that it's getting better. I think it's getting worse. I was a kid, and I know my mom's watching, so I'll say it. I knew a lot too. I may not have known it all, but I knew a lot, and it was really a good thing that I had the support around me of a neighborhood, teachers, Mr. Kegg, Mr. Bauer, Mr. Rader, Mrs. Woods, Mrs. Cray. I can name all my teachers pretty much, that made a difference. And we didn't have these products back then. There are so many people that have been lost, whether it be through human trafficking or whether it be killed because they did not have that split second to separate themselves from the danger.
Correct.
Yeah. And I'm going to go right back to this. You've got a way, if you've got a business, you've got a way and a person to contact now that can exploit the insight for you. And really, if you just engage with people and open this conversation about safety, it's so much easier when you have the percentages to talk about the whys. And
Right.
and I think we all have to get over the fact that we have to be prepared for safety first. And do you find in your conversations, do you find that people are hesitant on the safety first feature because they think it's not going to happen to me?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely come across a lot of people in that white level of awareness. Absolutely. And if I do a presentation, and I plant the seed. Sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I get calls a month later or a year later. Sometimes a situation they're calling me because they were in a situation that they were scared. Nothing happened to them, but they felt uncomfortable, or unfortunately something happened to someone they knew. So yes, I do get that. The All I could do is plant the seed. I will share a quick story with you. Up in Washington, D.C., I did a presentation a couple of years ago with an attorney's office. This woman attorney who had a firm said, I want you to come in and speak to 30. I want you to come and speak to my firm. And there were 30 women in there. And I did my presentation. I had a door prize, and the door prize was a pepper spray. Now, of the 30 people, there were probably about 5 or 6 who were clearly not interested. They were clearly those that didn't think it was ever. They were in their young 30s. They were, they just became attorneys. They just started, and this woman, this young woman, won the pepper spray. And I said to myself, I said, oh, great. This person was the one that least was going to use it, I thought, because she wasn't paying. She was totally not interested. The only reason why she was there was because she had to be there. Her boss, we had a lunch and learn, and her boss had a nice spread, and everybody had to be there. The next day, the coordinator calls me up, and she says, I have to tell you 2 things. She says, first of all, I didn't get any work out of these young ladies because they were all talking about either one, scenarios where they could have been in a bad situation, or what they're going to do to change their daily lives so that they can be safer. Like not leaving their work early, not leaving, well, if they have to work late, because a lot of them worked in DC, they worked all different hours, they went to customers' houses. So what were the things they were going to change? Leave work together, they bought products. This one particular, and then the lady says to me, the one that won your pepper spray walks to the gym every morning at 5:45 every morning in Washington, outside Washington, D.C. in Arlington. That morning after this presentation, she was approached by a man, and she had her pepper spray in her hand. Now, here's a woman that was in the presentation. She was totally one of those that thought nothing's going to happen to me. I don't need anything. She won that pepper spray. She got home. She made a choice. She could have put that pepper spray in her drawer, but no, for whatever reason, she opened the pepper spray. She had it on her. The next morning, she had something to protect herself.
I'm going to ask a question because, and really following up with that is that, people who would have gone home and put that in their drawer, they never know what would have happened. Okay.
Right.
End result is that was a free giveaway. It had a great story, great ending. But think of it this way. If you've got somebody out there that you care about, somebody that doesn't think that they need it, what a better way to give a gift than to hand them a really a vintage pouch that,
right.
that they can hang on their keychain. There's just different ways of doing it that they have access to it in their hand when they really can kind of blow it off, and everybody thinks it's a lipstick carrier, and it's really not. I'm trying to lay this out there that for less than $20, you could change your whole atmosphere with daughters, granddaughters, educate them on just the safety side of it, and then talk to them about the situation that they're going to face out on the street, and give them examples, because now you don't just have the conversation, you have the tool to go along with the protection of the street. And it only takes, truthfully, it only takes a second. I want you to talk about, and I haven't asked this question. We've talked several times, and as always, my show is really just off the cuff, and we're just digging in. But I want you to talk about the quality of the pepper spray in comparison to what people may carry from like an auto parts store. Is there a
So that
difference?
so that's the key too. There is a big difference in pepper sprays. First of all, when people order a pepper spray online, or they get it from a gun show, you're not taught how to use it. Number one, there are different potencies of pepper sprays. Our pepper sprays shoot 16 feet. We have a larger one that shoots further for people that, these large, yeah, the flip shot pepper spray is larger. But basically, it shoots 15 feet. It's 2 million SHUs. It's made with that canine pepper. It's the most potent that you can have legally. It causes no permanent injury. That's the thing that people, think about. Oh my God, I don't want to hurt somebody. Well, again, I cycle back to, you want to get home to your family. Okay, so you need to be mean. You need to take this pepper spray and spray somebody. We also have a UV dye in it, so that when you spray it, it stays on the face of your attacker up to 7 days. They can shower, they can wash, but that UV dye stays on them for 7 days. And if you were fortunate enough to describe your attacker, and the police got this person, they have a machine that they could scan the face and the UV dye shows up, which is wonderful. Ours also works on those under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Let me say that again. Ours works for people under the influence of drugs and alcohol. That's huge. So if you are, and plus we have a locking device, that's really important for people. And so those are the main components. The pepper sprays that you see here, the vintage Poucho pepper, those can go on a keychain. Or we have a breakaway. This is worth mentioning. If you did not want to hold your pepper spray in your hand, we have a breakaway that is it's under security on the go. Well, wait a second. You show protected pepper. The protected pepper are the ones that have a wristlet that if somebody grabbed that one from you, they could not spray you. And then the other ones are keychain pepper sprays. They can go very nicely. As I said, there's something called a breakaway baby. It's very inexpensive. It's on the security on a go, and you can attach that to your purse. See the breakaway baby?
Yeah.
You can attach that to the hook on your purse, and you can hang it from the inside of your purse. So many women, when I ask them, do they have pepper spray? I say, where is it? Do you have it with you? No. Or it's somewhere in my purse. Okay. With a breakaway baby, you can hook that onto the hook of your purse and then have your pepper spray or your alarm or your striking tool hanging inside your purse. And if you needed it, you could pull it up, it breaks away from your purse, and you literally have it in your hand, which is fantastic because you're not fumbling through your purse to find your pepper spray. You have to have this near you before something happens. This is preventative.
And there's a lot of times where people are on vacation, even in a foreign country. Are you allowed to take this product to a foreign country?
So you'd have to you'd have to check with the country. When I went to Paris last June, I brought my tactical pen and I brought my alarm because I wasn't sure, nor did I really want to be in a situation in another country. So I just brought my tactical pen and my alarm. You are showing there a safely sleeve. We just came out with this bulletproof safety sleeve that can go on any 3-ring binder. I mean, unfortunately, yes, it's crazy to think that our children have to think of this, but we also have one for backpacks that came out a couple of years ago. But a lot of kids are no longer allowed to have backpacks with them in the classroom. So our company created this safely sleeve that can be inserted into any 3-ring binder. You mentioned traveling. We just came out with a hairbrush, that round hairbrush that has the bottom opens up, and you can put a pepper spray in the hairbrush. You could put money. You could put jewelry in there. It's great for when you're traveling. We also have a canister that says hairspray. That's the same purpose. So if you're in a hotel room and you have, it's the Saty spray. If you were in a hotel room and you had somebody come and, make your bed every day, you don't want to leave your jewelry or money around. You just unscrew the bottom of this. It's hollow, and you hide your valuables in that. So these are great deterrents. And we also have a couple of locks for hotel rooms. You have the step-off portable alarm, which could be used for a door coming inward or also on a window. And then we have a lock that can go into a actual door jamb that can have another secure way of locking your door. That junk in the trunk is a great product for a car. It's got jumper cables, it's got alarms. It's, as you can see, it's got all those products in there. It's got an hypothermia blanket, a rain poncho, jumper cables, bungee cords.
And the biggie,
what?
A light.
A light, yes. 2 lights. The orange light has like 7 different patterns of lights, including an SOS. There's also a product called the Road Trip, which is separate from this, but it's an amazing product that every car should have. It has 7 features, and it's the Road Trip. It's magnetic, and you can put it on top of your car. It was on the same page, John, as the other one.
Thank you.
It's got a strobe light. It's got a flashlight. It's got a red beaming light. It's a USB it's an emergency USB for your phone. So if you were in a car and you got in a car accident and flames started coming from your engine, or if you were stuck in water during hurricanes and nothing works, it's an emergency USB for your phone. It breaks your seatbelt and it breaks your glass. So it's got every car should have this tool.
All in one. It's a basic all-in-one safety tool, isn't it?
It is all-in-one safety tool. Yes.
And perfect,
it has a loud alarm
for the glove box.
It's perfect. It's a perfect tool to have. As long as you can reach your glove box. You want to make sure some of these larger vehicles, the glove box is too far away. So you want to keep it, next to you, or if your glove box is close to you, yes, keep it in your glove box.
And, we're highlighting some of these things today, and very rarely do I do customer, do I do sales sides of things, but when they're directly connected with the biggest problems that we have in our society, which is, being safe, sound, and secure. As a realtor, safe, sound, and secure is what we do when we close our homes. You said story about realtors, and this was when I first became a realtor. Things were a little different here than they are today, and I say that very cautiously because uh, one would think that I could let my guard down, but that's not the case. But we had foreclosures back in the day, and I went into a house. It was probably 6:45, dusk, and legitimately walked in on two guys who had taken over the house. Vacant home, secure in the front, unsecure in the back because they got their way in.
Yes.
And I had my customers with me who had not come in the door yet. And I think the only difference maker for me was I had the size to represent run the other way. Now, if you don't have the size to represent run the other way, and you didn't have a concealed carry, but you had some of your product line on you, in that scenario, I would have sprayed it. I would have sprayed pepper spray. I would have done all those things. And worst case scenario is they ran anyway, but they would have run. And the one thing I'll note is that that first 2 or 3 months, I could have described them to a T if I would have had that pepper spray, and it would have shown that UV. That's a much greater chance of identifying the perpetrator, correct?
Correct. And the other thing that I didn't mention too, I did mention that pepper spray will not permanently damage you, but that pepper spray, we also tell people to spray in a Z pattern: eyes, nose, mouth, and then down the shirt. And why do we say down the shirt? Well, if you were sprayed in the face, would you not pick your shirt up to try to wipe your face?
Right.
So that pepper spray will, all of your liquids will come out. Your eyes will be bloodshot and stinging. Your membranes will be burning. You'll be coughing 50 times more than you cough from red tide. But it's
good comparison, bad. By the way.
It's bad. It's very bad. And it will give you time to get away. But you do have to be aware if you're, that's why you have to have layered protection, because if you're inside, or if it's a windy day, you don't want to use your pepper spray. If somebody comes from behind you, you will be better off with a stun device than a pepper spray so close to you. A stun device is a good deterrent. It makes the sound, but if they did come to you, it hurts. It does get into the muscle tissue, so it does hurt.
Right. And really it just delays. You're talking about a scenario that seconds can make a difference.
Absolutely. Split
second can make a difference.
Yes.
And the product that you have, and we talked about concealed carry. All right, we're a concealed carry state. We talked about that. But I think people realize that there's pepper spray hanging on someone's wrist or someone's purse. And I got to believe that the odds of you getting attacked,
yes,
while you have that on display, have to be less.
Yes,
you talk about that.
You're being attacked statistically because you are not paying attention. You are an easy target. Your attacker is looking for an easy target. Somebody that's distracted. A mom that has 2 or 3 kids in there screaming.
Yep.
A good thing to do is to put a striking tool, not a pepper spray or a stun, under the kid's car seat, but get a striking tool. You're very vulnerable in a lot of different ways. But absolutely, if you are not paying attention or you are oblivious to what's going on, you will go to that black zone, which is basically panic, breakdown physically, mentally, and you are a victim.
And you use the word victim. Can you talk about some of the victims who have come forward to you and talked about, thank God I had this. Have you had in your time frame, and I know you described one, but have you had multiple people now when you've done these presentations come back to you and say, you know what, I'm just so thankful that I changed my attitude and I carried something like that?
I have had some people say that, but I also get people that say, I've been thinking about my safety lately. And I'm glad, like when I do a vendor event or when I come to a business and do a presentation, they, more than not, they're thinking about it, but they don't know what to do about it. So I'm thrilled that I can be that funnel to give them that education, to plant that seed, and to get them protected. I have had people reach out to me a year later, 6 months later, and said, I moved to a certain area, I don't feel safe, or something, it was a near miss, something almost happened, scared me enough to where now I think I need to have protection.
I want to hit on, because we are senior populated big time down here.
Yes.
And a lot of seniors, they get up early in the morning, they go for their walks. We're transitioning now away from the daylight savings time. We got one more move, and I think we're good to go now. But lifestyles are going to be adjusted by that one shift.
Yes.
And safety, I think, if we talk about the daylight savings time in the retrospect of the change of time frame, we're going to be dealing with some darkness when we weren't used to it.
Yes.
Because of the daylight savings time transition.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with taking a walk and having something on your belt or having something on your hanging from your pocket while you're walking. As it gets dusk, I'll tell this story because it wasn't truly perpetrator related, but I was walking down our street, and ironically, we live in Florida, don't we? And there was a 13-foot alligator who had crawled up and nestled himself or herself next to the bushes along the sidewalk.
Yes.
And when I walked by, I literally was 2 feet from its mouth.
Yes.
And had no clue because it was hidden.
Yes.
I walked by, and all seriousness aside, if that gator would have done something and I would have had pepper spray, it would have been effective on the animal too, correct?
I have not tried pepper spray or stun on an alligator, nor do I want to, but I would like to think that they would have some effect. Like I sell a lot of the stun devices, the batons for people that walk with dogs, because whatever area you're in, a lot of people, especially seniors, the striking distance stun baton and the little ringer have the same exact 18 mega amps. But people who are walking like to have the distance. I use a little ringer when I walk because I like it. It fits comfortably in my hand. But women, especially seniors who are walking dogs in their neighborhoods, love this striking distance stun baton because it gives them distance. We have alligators all over here as well. We have snakes. I haven't seen snakes, but I see alligators in my backyard all the time.
Yep.
I would think that, I can't sit here and say, yes, it's going to protect you. I cannot say that. But I would certainly use them, use the sound, use what I have to give me a few split seconds to get away.
Here's the thing. If you're, and I have to say this because I've been out here 20 plus years now. If you don't have anything at all to try,
right,
you have no chance.
Right.
So the fear factor of, oh, well, I don't have anything should be gone right now for anybody who takes a walk at night, first thing in the morning. That's when you're at your most vulnerable. There's a rule of thumb that a lot of the coaches are really, it seems like they're beating this drum a lot louder now at the college level than they ever have before, and for good reason. Nothing good happens after midnight.
I said that to my kids.
Yep. So, if you're out there after midnight, the odds are you're going to run into something bad sometime.
And there are people walking in the dark everywhere.
And there are people, and something else I'm gonna say, because it was actually presented by one of the Northport police officers, a good friend of mine. But I talked about the safety of the house and what you do for your house and all these types of things, and he said, no, he says that's all good. He says, but keep in mind the average citizen spends maybe 4 or 5 hours figuring out the safety of their home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He goes, that's the typical average. He goes, but the guys who are breaking into houses, they spend 10 to 12 hours a day trying to figure out how to counter that.
Right.
How, you spend 3 hours once every 10 years thinking about your safety, and they're spending 10 to 12 hours a day thinking about how to undo it. And with technology the way it is today,
I was going to say, with the cyberspace, that's another whole dimension.
It is. But we're talking about just, I have to say, maybe some common sense and some common language.
Yes.
About breaking down the barrier with the younger generation to the older generation, and vice versa, because my mom's listening, and I know for a fact she's out there listening, but she's at the school system, and a lot of the retired staff are going back into this current school system, and it's dramatically changed from 30 years ago. The bus rides, I was a bus driver at one point in my life, and that's definitely changed. I could see a bus driver wanting to carry something like this just for the mere fact if something did break out on the bus.
Right.
Holy crap, you got to have some way to get restraint.
You could, if there was a situation where kids were out of control on the bus and they had a stun device and they made the sound, that's enough to holy, okay, I made that
and you
sound.
Didn't hurt anybody. You didn't touch anybody.
Right. I want order. I made it clear that I want order. Yep. Exactly.
The beauty is, and I'm going to come right back to you, because we've got, I went over. I've got to hold on one second. This is John Rawlings, WKDW Radio 97.5 FM, saying thanks for listening in, and join me on Monday. We'll talk to you soon. I had to get off the radio. Holy crap, we went over.
Oh, I didn't even get to talk about this.
No, but we're still live on Facebook. It's okay.
Okay, we're
good. Still live, and truthfully, we're live on that was a fast hour for us.
It was.
Um,
Yes, yes. And I did want to mention two other
sure,
things, if it's okay.
sure.
So, one of the other things I talk about with people is the 5 elements of self-defense. And obviously, situational awareness is key. But I'm bringing it down now to the realness of where are you? If you're in a restaurant, okay, how many people sit facing the door?
Not me.
If you're,
I sit near the exit. My dad taught me sit near an exit and watch everyone coming in.
but
And
right,
and I get
so
uncomfortable if I'm not in my position.
that's good, but you're in the minority.
I know. And I
You
teach it a lot, by the way.
what?
I teach it a lot.
That's good, because if you're sitting near an exit, or say you can't get to an exit, but you're sitting in the middle of the restaurant, you want to face that door, because again, I'm going back to that OODA loop. Okay. Your brain is going to observe, orient, decide, and act. You have a split second to decide what you're going to do. Somebody comes in, is an irate former employee that you fired, or somebody that's on PCP and stoned out of their mind, and they didn't even realize that they're coming into this restaurant and they're causing a scene.
Right.
You notice it right away, and immediately you can decide. Your brain's going through that cycle. I'm observing it, I'm orienting, I'm deciding, and I'm acting. You can decide whether you get to stay or whether you get to go. I did a presentation in a senior facility about a month ago up in Bradenton, and this woman shared with us that she was in a restaurant and a man came in with a firearm and started shooting. And she and her husband immediately knelt down to the ground, crawled out through the kitchen, and got out. So it's very important to face that door, to know where the exits are. Same thing with in a movie theater, where are the exits, those type of things. Also body language. Years ago, they used to say to us, if something was uncomfortable, don't look at a person directly in the eyes. Well, now that's totally false. You want to look and make eye contact with somebody. You want them to know that you are not going to be intimidated and that you can identify them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I know that we're going to do this again. We had 4 or 5 people on Facebook chiming in and going out back and forth. So I saw that. I think we should do maybe a joint show with another guest, and you and I are going to talk about this, because I think we could probably get somebody to come on with you.
Yeah.
And really talk about the awareness side, and then you could talk about the safety side.
Who would be a really good Seal of Freedom is a nonprofit organization.
Had them on before, but that would be awesome, because I haven't had them on for a while.
They're fantastic, and I went through their training to be a volunteer to spread awareness about them. But you have Safe Hearts. I have to take a second to talk Safe Hearts. Sure. So sharing. So Safe Hearts stands for Sharing Awareness Through Family Empowerment. This is an opportunity for adults to talk to children about protecting their hearts and bodies against tricky people and tricky situations. Children are being sexually assaulted as young as 2 to 4 years of age. 70% of sexual assaults occur before the ages of 17. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys are victims of sexual assault. Now, of course, like I said before, those statistics are skewed because why? Because not everybody reports it. So it's just a huge, wonderful program. There's a parent guide you talked about earlier about what do you say? How do I say it? How do I start these conversations? The parent guide is a proactive parent guide, 12 essential family safety conversations. There's 10 storybooks. They cover everything from coercion to fire safety, um, grooming, a coach that basically, of course, wants to get too close to a child. A story about a boys' bathroom, because statistically, public restrooms is the number one place where boys were sexually assaulted. As far as women, public restrooms, gas stations, parking garages, stairwells, elevators. These are all areas that women especially are very vulnerable. So,
well, and really I have to say this because our times have changed, and you've got a lot of restrooms now that are and
yes,
so
yes,
these are conversations that be all right, let's get real. These are conversations that people are scared to even talk about in public because they
yes.
will get lambasted by one side or the other. And the reality is it's here, it's happening. Okay? So deal with it. The best way to deal with it, get yourself safe, get yourself educated on what's going to happen, what could possibly happen, and understand where you're going. It's still about safety first.
And these
So,
children's books are an amazing. This is not a book that you buy as a parent or whoever is raising that child. It could be a grandparent.
yep.
This is not a book that you say, "Here, Johnny, read this." This is family empowerment. You're sitting down with them. The parent guide is only $7. You basically read that. You can read it once and be okay. I'm ready to talk to my children, or you could read it 10 times. But it's a wonderful Bible, if you will, a guide for you to use, for you to be empowered on what to say. How am I saying it? And why do I need to say this to my small children without fear, without giving them fear?
And English and Spanish.
Yes.
So listen, we're going to do this again. We're going to have you back on, and we're going to hit some of these things again. Okay. And I really, I apologize, but we really have now spent almost an hour and 15 minutes talking about this, and I still can't believe it was this short of a period of time.
If anybody wants any information about anything, or if you want to call me to have me come to speak to your group, or even to join, right now I work from North Sarasota down to Punta Gorda, and I am trying to find more people that are passionate about this mission and what we do to join our team, to get into your communities, to equip, empower, and educate people of all ages.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being part of the show, and I look forward to talking to you again here real soon, Laura. I hope you're happy with what we've done.
Thank you so much, John.
And really share this on Facebook, share this on Twitter, YouTube. Get the information out there, because the worst case scenario, at worst, you're going to be able to have a dialogue, and this show is a quick and easy way to have people listen in, engage, right, and take the stress out of the conversation.
Right.
So we literally just had a live conversation about all this, and it should take all the stress out of you. So go enjoy your weekend. Call Laura directly, and really her number is 703-346-6045. Give her a call, get yourself scheduled, get your organization scheduled, PTA meetings, things like that, things that are going to be really insightful to the community and change behavior, change the behavior of the behaved, so to speak, because the unbehaved, they're working at getting to you every single day. So, Laura, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John, for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. This is
All
John
right.
Monk with WKDW Radio and Laura with
Damsel in Defense.
And you guys have a great weekend. Be safe and take that safety word to another level and contact Laura. Look at her website. Check it all out. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.